So I actually want to talk about paying dues because things are going great for you right now, right? You released your first album, which is beautiful, by the way. I'm a
Thank you.
fan of it. And Billboard Artists to Watch list this year. And is it true that you're touring with Dylan?
Yeah, I'm on tour with Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan and John Mellencamp,
It's
and Billy Strings is
ridiculous.
coming on for a show too.
That's
I
wild.
know. I,
Like, how many times a day are you pinching yourself?
a lot.
Yeah.
This is my third year being on the road with Willie, and
Okay.
so I just honestly I'm like, wow, he keeps inviting me back. This is really fun, and he's
Yeah.
so fun to tour with. Like
Yeah.
he's so sweet, and I feel like, gosh, like he still plays so well. He brings his family out on the road. I think that's been really important for me to see, as I'm
Mhm.
like kind of figuring out like, do I want a family? Like, what does it look like
Mm.
to have a family on the road? And I've been really fortunate to be around several artists who have had their families out on the road, and Willie's one of them. And just seeing what that looks like, even just like later on in life,
Yeah.
it's really cool. And gosh, man, I fan out. I just stand side stage and just watch him perform and just take it all in because, man, what an honor to be able to do this like in his lifetime and to get to be a little tiny part in like a
Mm.
Willie story. And I've never been on the road with Bob Dylan. I played Farm Aid I think 2 years ago, and John Mellencamp was there. I think he's like on the board of Farm Aid with Willie, and this is really cool. Like I feel an extreme amount of excitement.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, well, it's funny, right? Because in moments like this, everything blows up and there's so much energy and activity. And I'm happy to hear that you're also just enjoying it because I think sometimes that gets overlooked. Um, and yeah, so much to learn, right? Not just about the music, but about how to
Hmm.
do this life and for a long
Yes.
time and well, and in a way that you keep your happiness and your joy. But I
Yeah.
also think, I know that there were years, of what I like to call the school of hard knocks. Like I literally used to have that in my Instagram bio. Like, where
Hmm.
did you go to school? Because that is kind of where I went to school. But I think it's really interesting. I think that is a place where we all learn really important things.
Yeah.
And, your years of busking and backup
Hmm.
singing and odd jobs and all the things.
Yeah.
What how did all of that? I mean, I think that in a real way that feeds in, right? It
Yeah.
prepares you. How did it can you look back and
Hmm.
see how it's prepared you to step into this spotlight now?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I still feel like I'm paying dues. Like
Yeah.
I'm the opening act. I'm still learning. Like I can't hold on to anything too tightly because it might be time to let it go. Right when I
Yeah.
start to feel like I got a hold of this.
Mm.
It's a wild ride and it's a wild journey, and adaptability has definitely been a huge I guess trait that I've had to kind of
Mhm.
take on, for this career, and
Mhm.
maybe a lot of what I did before now is kind of helping.
Yeah.
Definitely busking. Um I treat I want to treat every show, like it's the thing that I want to do with my life because it
Mhm.
is, even if you are the opening act, even if not a lot of people there. Yeah, who cares? There
Yeah.
are people here. They came to see you. They came to watch what's happening. And even if
Mhm.
they didn't come for you, they came for someone else. But also, like, it's your responsibility to treat them well.
Yeah.
To put on the show, to give them all you've got because they deserve it.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot of that from working a lot in customer service. I've had
Mhm.
like every odd job, not
Mhm.
every, that's an exaggeration, but I've been a lot of things. I've been a barista. I've worked in healthcare. I've worked in I don't know, telemarketing, a juice bar. That was my favorite. Being a juice
Mhm.
girl was my absolute favorite. And it's important. All those different odd jobs, they teach you how to handle different kinds of people and how
Yeah.
to anticipate people's needs. And also, I mean, just how to read a room.
Mhm.
And they teach you how to serve. And I think that that is really important. I really feel like as an artist, I live in service of music. I'm not just trying to juice it
Mhm.
for whatever I can get from it. It's honestly never been enough for me to just wake up and sing just because I can.
Yeah.
Um, that's not enough for me. I can do that in the shower. Like
Mhm.
I've had honest conversations with myself,
Mhm.
through the years. And I remember when I first moved to Nashville 11 years ago, I was like, why am I doing this? Like not because I felt like I was doing something wrong, but like I started just trying to figure out like what is my why? What am I doing? Why do I want a career in music? It's not enough to just be like I can sing and I have something to say, and that works for a lot of people, and I'm not like negating that or thinking that it's weird or wrong, but I put myself in service of that. At least I
Yeah.
try to.
One thing I see you doing right away is stepping into this place of, building community and supporting other artists, which is a beautiful thing to see. I know that your overnight success, it never is, and also it's had a lot of moving parts and a lot of like 6 degrees of separation things where you've worked with one person and then something else happens,
Hmm.
and then your relationship with the Highwomen, which is um, I guess very life changing. Um,
I love them so much.
yeah, and it's community. I
Yeah.
see that it's become your musical family.
Yeah. Oh gosh, they really are. I love them. Um, my introduction to music was sing with other people. I learned how to sing with other people. So when I got the opportunity to sing with them, I'll never forget. I will never forget. I remember we were walking to the stage at Bottle Rock to go perform in front of 50,000 people. And I remember not realizing we were walking to the stage because it was so casual and it
Yeah.
was so dark back there. It never really dawned on me like we're walking on stage because I think we walked out like just kind of holding each other.
Mm.
And gosh, I'm having like chills even just thinking about it. Like it never, it just, I don't know why, but it did not click in my head.
It's funny, we talk about social media and the separation that it causes and how, there's not real human connection, but your story, and I should just say for anyone who doesn't know, so you uploaded your cover of their song.
Hmm.
They retweeted it, everything went viral, but then they reached out
Hmm.
and invited you to sing with them. And I do love to think about that. And I think especially for artists because, that is a place to put your work and you don't know who's going to see it. And
Hmm.
I think more often than not, actually, human connection follows. And it is a good way for us to find each other.
Yeah,
And
it is a beautiful thing. I mean, I'm pretty vocal in letting people know like social media is not my thing, and like I'm trying to be diligent with it because it really is a great tool.
yeah,
It's a great tool
yeah.
to connect with people, to be able to show what you're doing and to just kind of be and express that part of
Hmm.
yourself. And I appreciate it for that. I mean, it's also like the place where a lot of like social revolutions have kind of been captured and discussed
Hmm.
and really kind of sustained,
Hmm.
through that online conversation where there isn't a middle person,
Yeah.
where you really can just hear directly from people who are on the grounds or people, just kind of going through the thing that they're talking about,
Yeah.
experiencing.
That's one of the things that I love so much about this moment, this time of, a lot of people stepping into their power as artists. And the first thing, like the first order of business is, okay, let's gather together, let's build this community. And what I'm really loving is that community is also involving, our ancestors and all those women from the past who
Hmm.
didn't get their due, who had to operate within systems that did not acknowledge them
Hmm.
or credit them for the culture shifting work that they did. I mentioned to you that Rhiannon Giddens was actually my first ever guest on this show way back
Oh,
in
really?
2020 when we were
Oh,
on Zoom.
cool.
Yeah, and we've been friends for years. And watching her do the work she's been doing, and it's tireless, and it so needs to be done. Not only just for the purpose of like clarifying history, but also to empower so many future generations to understand where they come from. And then I don't know, I'm wondering, as you are building your voice and, sort of creating your own path forward, where have you found inspiration from the past? I mean, like the
Yeah.
past, the
Like,
back, the way back,
like the way back.
the way back.
Oh man, I feel like I think I draw a lot of inspiration from the past, like the past, but also like from a lot of the past that's like kind of still here as well. Like we
Mm-hmm.
were talking about like Willie Nelson, he's 90 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But I think about like Billie Holiday.
Yeah.
Like I think about like my hair icon Shaka Khan, my other hair icon Diana Ross, and then
Yeah.
my third hair icon Dolly. Like I think about them
Yeah.
like I wonder what it was like for them back then. I wonder what life looked like, what it felt like. Like this industry probably feels so different to them
Yeah.
now than it did back in the 60s.
Yes.
Like it's wild to think about that, but I do. And so I draw a lot of inspiration from a lot of our legends living also now kind of like passed on. I appreciate that, especially when you talk about like the craft of songwriting.
Mhm.
Gosh, and even like how I want to be inspired, to write songs moving forward. Like
Mhm.
I've spent so much time over the last few weeks, even just like listening and going back to like Loretta Lynn,
Yeah.
going back to her songs, going back to Billie Holiday songs.
Yeah.
They were both very, very vulnerable
Mm.
and very honest and very like you knew what was probably going on there in their lives at that time because of how their music sounded. And gosh, I'm so attracted to music like that. Like
Mhm.
I want to continue to make music like that. I want to make music that's like that, but and get better at it. I feel like that's important, and it reminds me, you know, to just tell the truth,
Yeah.
and to be simple and to just say the thing. I take great pride in being part of a generation in country music where people are kind of just, pushing the barriers.
Mhm.
And this isn't the first time it's happened. It's happened from so many angles, and it'll keep happening because, genre and sound changes. But I mean, even particularly right now, like we're watching a lot of Black country artists, and it's so cool to watch because I feel like as a result, maybe even like I'm watching like a lot of LGBT country artists, and I'm
Yeah.
watching a lot of Latino country artists, and
Mhm.
it's cool. And it's like it's so many all at once, that one day we
Mhm.
probably won't even have to have this conversation because it'll be the norm.
Mhm.
I remember someone once said to me before, they were like, try not to focus on the people here who might not like you. Think about the people who are now coming because you're
Yes.
here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Think about the people who are now feeling like they can not just be a fan of this in the shadows. Like I was. I wasn't going to country concerts for a long time. Like it wasn't anything in me that made me feel like I could be a part of the thing,
Mhm.
Like, and I've gone to concerts, plenty of concerts, like, but it took me a while to like get to that point, I think.
Yeah.
And like, but that's my why. I
Yes.
know I'm not the only one.
Yes.
I've oftentimes feel like
Mhm.
the more I start to lean in and understand what I'm feeling and process what I'm feeling, even the things that I just kind of be like, no, it's not worth my time. I blow it off in the back of my mind. Like a lot of those things have started to like even just resurface
Mhm.
because if I can understand how I was feeling, it helps me to better understand that there are plenty of other people who feel this way.
Mhm.
Except now I get to put myself in a position where like maybe this changes someone's experience. And
Yeah.
then, and I say me, I'm not talking about me. I think I'm part of something much greater. I think there's a whole movement happening right now, and I think it's beautiful to watch. And change is messy.
I do actually, at my core, believe that music and this kind of invitation
Mm-hmm.
and opening of doors that we can create through music is one of the most powerful ones.
Mm-hmm.
And what's been to me really beautiful and inspiring and hopeful about all of this visibility from Beyonce's album, which of course you're on, and what it has led to in terms of all of this awareness that Black artists exist in country and have for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really opening a big
Mm-hmm.
portal. So then my question becomes, it's an election cycle. This country is so crazy divided along all kinds of lines. I would like to believe in my heart that if we cross those lines with our music and we understand that, we can be in the same space that is music, but it's also history, it's also shared experience, that those divisions start to go away. That is a very big job for us to do as artists, but in my mind, that is the ultimate end goal. And I wonder how you feel about that because, again, like that's a big ask.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I feel like in ways I've thought about parts of your question. I feel like the power of music is that we empower the people listening.
Mhm.
We empower ourselves. The songs that we write, the topics that we choose to discuss, the ways that we choose to engage in important conversations. Hopefully, it just energizes the fans. It energizes the people who are listening, and because they're the ones that shift the culture. Like I feel
Mhm.
like oftentimes we're a mouthpiece for that, and we
Yes.
put ourselves on the front line. But it really does take an army of people, for
Yeah.
that sort of change to kind of come about. And so hopefully what we're doing energizes people and kind of creates a conversation, or it sparks a thought, sparks an innovation that then has to kind of be carried out by the collective whole. It's not
Mhm.
just one person.
No,
It's
but
not
that's
just
the
one
thing. I
song.
mean, I think these are big numbers of people, right?
Yeah,
Like, I
huge.
don't know, I can't do the math. However many people are at a typical Beyoncé concert and at what has been thought of as like a typical country music that's a lot of
Mm,
people, and those are
yeah.
probably have been pretty different audiences. Now look
Hmm.
at this, like all of a sudden
Yeah, the
that's
people are
coming
speaking.
together.
The people
It's
are speaking and the people
wild.
are letting us know what they want. And
Yeah.
I'm just listening.
Mm-hmm.
Like going back to your question, even just about like is genre needed? I don't have answers. I really just have a bunch of questions
Mm-hmm.
because like I could have like 3 follow-up questions to that. It's like I try to like see things from different sides. I really do try. It's like because people always ask like is genre obsolete? And I'm just like, I don't know. But what I do know is that people who listen to my music tell me they also listen to other mainstream country artists who are much further along, and they also listen to hip hop and they listen to pop, and they can sing word for word songs that were written in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like that's I don't know. It's a weird, wonderful time. And quite
Mm-hmm.
honestly, those are my people. Like my
Yeah.
album sounds like that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Like not one
Yeah.
single song sounds like another on my album. And
Mm-hmm.
that's on purpose because I like to have country music as a thread, through my songs because that's in my blood.
Mm-hmm.
It'll always have a story. It'll always be, hopefully authentic and true to the tradition, but also just I'm not just bringing my complexion. I'm bringing culture.
Mm-hmm.
My family listened to songs where we saw ourselves reflected,
Right.
where we heard our stories reflected. And
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't grow up just listening to country music. I didn't grow up just listening to classic country music. I heard it and I, of course, engaged it. Like I've committed my life to it. I've been in Nashville for 11 years.
Well, and that again, I mean, you're reflecting everybody, right? And I think that's the biggest thing that we can do as artists is to
Yeah.
take all that, like the whole spectrum,
Yeah.
and then you mix it all together and you write a song.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like the greats do it, I love that. I love when
Mm-hmm.
artists have, like a mix of things in
Mm-hmm.
their discography. I think it's important.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
Hopefully I am doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I want to be with people who like good music and, just want to, who care more about whether a song is good or not than they do whether or not it's country enough. Like that's
Yeah. Yeah.
like good.
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying this for years, but I wish good was a genre. Like I wish
Yeah.
good was a
Yeah.
genre.
Well,
Like
that's another thing
let's
that
make
Duke
that.
Ellington said. He said there are two kinds of music: good music and the other kind.
He did? Well, I like him. I already did, but now I like him more.
Yeah.
It's important.
But isn't it comforting to like you can, well, for me my sad song go to would always be Lady Day. So you turn on that record and there she is almost 100 years ago feeling exactly the way you feel today, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, this isn't new.
Yeah.
This isn't new. And that's what, like, going back to the thing you said earlier, like, that's why it's important to go back to tradition. That's why it's important to go back to songs that have been written. It's a snapshot of that, period in time. And it's nice to know you're not alone. Things might look a little different. We got a little more technology.
Mm-hmm.
The streets look a little different. You
Yeah.
got, I don't know, fewer trees or something. I don't know. Like, it looks different,
Yeah.
but the human experience oftentimes goes right back to the same just core feelings and valid expressions and experiences. And so I want to connect with all of it, Ugh, for better or worse.